Welcome friends to the UGC Net Coaching Conduct class of Sri Nilakanda Government Science College Learning Management System. I am Dr. Reshmi MS, Assistant Professor, Postgraduate and Research Department of Botany, SNGS College, Pattabi. For the first paper, you have a topic on people and environment. On that you have 4 different portions such as people and environment interaction, sources of pollution, pollutants and their impact on human life, exploitation of natural and energy resources, natural hazards and mitigation. So, for the current presentation, I have divided the topic into 3 main headings. The first one is natural resources and energy, the second one is pollution and pollutants, and the third one is natural hazards and disasters. So, we will look into one by one. The first part, which is the natural resources and energy, you know that the environment we can define as the sum total of all living and non-living components which surrounds an organism. So, the components of environment can be divided into 2 main categories, the physical or abiotic components which comprised of non-living systems, and living or biotic components which consisting of microbes, plants, animals, etc. So, to precisely, the environment consisting of 4 segments such as biosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere and lithosphere. We will look deep into one by one. The first one, biosphere, it is the part of earth on which an organism survive and reproduce, whereas an atmosphere is the gaseous environment that surrounds a biosphere. That is, it is a thin layer of mixture of gases around the earth which is of great source to all living organisms. And what is hydrosphere? From the term itself we can know that hydrosphere is the water content that in which the water plays a major role in biosphere, because without water life is not possible. And the last component and the most important one is lithosphere, which is the soil part, and it consisting of all types of minerals, metals, organic matters, rocks, soils, etc. So, for the first part I have already mentioned, which is which comes under the environment, that is natural and non-natural resources. So, what is a resource? A resource can be defined as any natural or artificial substance, energy or organism which is used by human beings for its welfare. So, resources can be divided into 2 main categories, natural resources as well as artificial resources. Natural resources, we know that I will go in detail one by one. So, before that, the natural resources comprised of coal and petroleum products, whereas artificial example is electricity. In natural resources itself, it is divided into 2 main categories, exhaustible as well as inexhaustible, and in inexhaustible again divided into renewable natural exhaustible resources as well as non-renewable natural exhaustible resources. So, I will define what each one. First one is the renewable resources. Some of the exhaustible resources are naturally regenerated after consumptions. For example, forest trees and plants, that is once destroyed, but new ones can be grown from seedlings. But you have to keep in mind that if the forest is totally cut down for land or construction or building, it is last forever, it is not replenishable. Then what is non-renewable resources? In non-renewable resources which cannot be replaced after the use, and this includes the minerals such as copper, iron, etc., as well as some fossil fuels such as coal, oil, etc. So, in the resources there are 2 types of energy sources. The first one is the conventional source of energy, that which are easily available from the ecosystems and can be used for a long period of time. Whereas a non-conventional source of energy, that is other than the usual natural one, that is different from that which are we used in common practices. So, for your easiness, I have put the conventional as well as non-conventional renewable energy in table. And in under conventional energy, there are 2 types, that is conventional non-renewable energy, that which can be replenished, which cannot be replenished after use, as well as conventional renewable energy, that which can be replenished after use. For the conventional non-renewable energy, that comes the fossil fuels, that which we are mining day by day and it is exploiting to a great extent, and some of the common examples are coal, oil and natural gas. whereas in conventional renewable energy, that is mostly non-fossil fuels, that is found above the ground level. Because in fossil fuels we are digging from underground, whereas in conventional renewable energy we will get it from above the ground level. For example, the firewoods, by we are cutting the forest, and cattle dung, farm vegetable wastes, wood charcoal, etc. Then what are non-conventional energy sources which we are using in our daily life to a great extent? Some of the examples are solar energy, hydel energy, wind energy, nuclear energy, hydrogen energy, geothermal energy, biogas, tidal energy, as well as biofuel. We will look into one by one. The first one is conventional non-renewable energy, that is coal, oil and natural gas. Oil and natural gas, I have already mentioned, we have obtained from plants and animals which lives in tropical areas such as in our climatic conditions. And for natural gas, it is often found along with petroleum, and the main component of natural gas is methane, which is increasingly used as for domestic purpose in our countries, including India. Whereas United States of America is the largest producer and consumer of natural gas. This natural gas is being supplied through pipelines, and it is known as piped natural gas, PNG. Whereas the natural gas is also used to fuel to run vehicles, it is known as compressed natural gas, and it is accepted as economical and less pollutant for transport. And the most common one, and we are using day by day, is the LPG, that is liquefied petroleum gas. It is a cooking gas used in Indian homes, and you have to know its composition. It is a mixture of propane and butane gases which are kept under high pressure in liquid form, but when they burn, it will be in a gaseous form. And natural gas is also, it is a byproduct of petroleum refineries. So these are the conventional renewable as well as non-renewable source of energy, and then we look into what we are artificially producing from non-conventional source of energy. The first one is solar energy. As you all know, it is the most abundant, everlasting, and it is available in almost everywhere, and it is free from pollutions. And hydel energy, you all know that in dams and all that things, we are producing hydel energy by using force of falling water to run hydel power, and it is cheaper than thermal or nuclear power. For its generations, we are commonly using dams. And then wind energy, in Tamil Nadu, Karpakam area, we have very familiarized, occasionally we will see this wind energy. It is an energy, it is utilized in our daily life by converting wind energy into mechanical energy, and this mechanical energy is used to generate electricity, raise water from wells, rivers, and it is used for irrigation as well as other purpose. We have to know the minimum wind speed which is required for producing wind energy is 7 km per hour. And a windmill can draw water up to a maximum depth of 55 feet, and the output is 4,000 to 9,000 liters per hour. Then comes the tidal energy. Tidal energy is the one that is produced by making the use of water movement from high tide to low tide. Ocean waves and tides are used to commonly used to run turbine and generate electricity. And the nuclear energy, which is produced from radioactive elements like uranium and thorium, which disintegrate spontaneously and produce large quantities of energy. This energy can be trapped to produce electricity. 25% of world's thorium reserve is found in our country, which can be utilized to generate electricity. Some of the examples of nuclear power plants are in Tharapur, Maharashtra, Kalpakam, Tamil Nadu, Narora, Uttar Pradesh, and Kota, Rajasthan. And then comes the hydrogen energy, which is most less pollutant gas found in atmosphere, that is hydrogen, which is used, for as a primary fuel for hydrogen based fuel cells and power plants, and can be used for industrial, residential and transport purpose. And three more can be added for the geothermal energy, which is the energy which is derived from the interior part of the earth, that is usually it comes during volcanic regions, springs and fountains and hot water called geysers, etc. And they produce, there are approximately 46 hydrothermal areas in India where water temperature normally exceeds 150 degree, above 150 degree centigrade. So electricity can also be produced from these hot springs. And the most eco-friendly one is of all among them is the biogas, which is again a non-conventional form of energy which we are produced artificially, and it is usually produced by microbial activity on cattle dung in a specialized tank called digester, and a mixture of how it is produced is we usually used a mixture of water and cattle dung is poured in the digester, whereas anaerobic condition, because in the absence of oxygen is very much required for biogas production. In the absence of oxygen, anaerobic digestion takes place and biogas is generated. And this biogas contains 55 to 75% methane, which is inflammable and is generally used for cooking gas and for generation of electricity. And the added advantage is the waste left over in this generation of biogas can be used as manuals. And another eco-friendly non-conventional source of energy is biofuel, which are usually produced by the hydrocarbons produced in plants which can be converted into petroleum hydrocarbon, because petroleum products are usually hydrocarbons. This liquid hydrocarbon is the biofuel, and the plants usually used for this purpose is Jatropha curcus, and it is the most suitable one, which yields biodiesel. And but Indian Oil Corporation is carrying out experiments for the preparation of biodiesel from various other vegetable sources also, such as rice bran, palm, sunflower, etc. So these are the examples of some of the non-conventional source of energy which I have mentioned, such as wind energy, turbines, hydrogen, solar power, etc. So this is the first part of our presentation, that is about natural resources, and the second part I have divided into pollution and its harmful effect. And pollution in any term can be defined as any undesirable change in the physical, chemical and biological characters of environment, especially we can see it as in air, water and land, that can adversely affect human population and wildlife. Pollutions are major categorized into four main categories. The first one is air pollution, second is water pollution, third is land or soil pollution, and final one is noise pollution. We will look deep into one by one. The first one is air pollution. As I already mentioned, it is any undesirable change which is occur in air or atmosphere that can undesirably affect our biotic components. And the sources of natural pollutions are mainly by natural sources or by anthropogenic or by ourselves, that is human made sources. Natural sources, major natural sources of air pollution comes from burning volcanoes, dust from storm and forest fires, etc. Not only that, certain pollen grains from flowers in airs are also natural sources of pollution. And what are the anthropogenic or the main causative source of air pollution is human made, which is mainly by power stations, furnaces, steam engines, sewers and domestic drains, emanating foul gases, pesticide residues in air, etc. There are so many effects of air pollutions. I have make a table categorizing the major one. The first pollutant is carbon compounds, and the major one is carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide, which are mainly exhausted from automobile exhaust, burning of wood and charcoal, etc. The harmful effects is major causes greenhouse effect and global warming and climate changes. Not only that, it causes certain respiratory diseases in humans. And the second one is sulfur compound, that is sulfur dioxide and hydrogen sulfide, which usually exhaust from power plants and refineries. Not only that, it naturally exhausts from volcanic eruptions also. And the major cause or concern is acid rain. Not only that, irritation in eyes and lungs, loss of chlorophyll from plants, and respiratory problems, cancer causing properties, etc. Then comes into nitrogen compounds. The major nitrogen air pollutant are nitrogen monoxide and nitrogen dioxide, which emit from motor vehicles, exhaust, atmospheric reaction, etc. It causes irritation in eyes and lungs, low productivity in plants, and also it is also a source of acid rain which damages materials and stones. And also hydrocarbons are also one of the causes of air pollution, and major hydrocarbons are benzene and ethylene, which exhaust from automobiles and petroleum industries. It also causes respiratory diseases, cancer causing problems, etc. And the concerned one is also SPM, that is suspended particulate matter, that is any solid or liquid particles that is suspended in air or fly ash, dust, lead, etc., which can be categorized as SPM, suspended particulate matter, which are mostly derived from thermal power plants, construction activities, metallurgic properties, processes and automobiles. And it also leads to poor visibility, breathing problems, because lead interferes with the development of red blood cells and causing lung diseases and cancer. Not only that, smoke, which is a mixture of smoke plus fog, and it is caused by SPM, and its formation leads to poor visibility and aggravates asthmatic problems in asthmatic patients. And the final one, which is a minor concern, that is fibers, which is cotton and wool, which is produced from textile and carpet weaving industries, which can cause to some extent lung disorders. These are all about air pollution and its causes. And next is water pollution. The water pollution is like air pollution, any undesirable change in water which has some undesirable effect in harmful effect in biotic system. And major sources of water pollution is point sources and non-point sources, and from the term itself we know that point sources is those sources which discharge water pollutants directly into the water. That is oil wells situated very near to water bodies, factories, power plants, underground coal mines, etc. discharge pollutants directly to the water. And there are also certain non-point sources, because they are not directly discharging pollutants into the water, but in indirect way, that is runoff from agricultural fields. Pesticides and fertilizers can be runoff from agricultural fields and can contaminate water bodies. Not only that, lawns, gardens, construction sites, roads and streets, all are some non-point sources of water pollution. So what are the major disturbances in ecosystem due to this water pollution? And I have categorized it as pollutant, sources, cause and effect. And in pollutant, the major water pollutants are nitrates, phosphates and ammonium salt, which are components of soap industries, and it is mainly from agricultural fertilizers, sewage, manure. We know that NPK ratio in agricultural fertilizers, it can cause increase in nitrogen and phosphate content in water, and it leads to increase in plant nutrients, which can lead to eutrophication. Eutrophication means an enhanced growth of algal forms or any sea plants to that extent that can cause some harmful effect to other aquatic living systems. And next pollutant is annual manure and plant residues, which are which come from sewage, paper mills, food processing waste, etc. It also leads to oxygen deficiency, and obviously any deficiency in oxygen leads to death of aquatic animals. And also heat is also a major release in any release of heat into water system from power plants and industrial cooling, from air conditioning. Also it will leads to thermal discharge and death of fish. And last one, oil slick and oil spillage, which is leakage from oil ships and increase in petroleum, with the death of marine life due to non-availability of oxygen dissolved in water. Can add up to water pollution, which is linked to industrial pollution. There are certain types of industries which can have some direct or indirect effect in water pollution, and one such is mining, which have an inorganic pollutant such as chloride, various metals, ferrous sulfate, sulfuric acid, wash of suspended particles, heavy metals, etc. into water bodies. And then iron and steel industries can give both inorganic as well as organic pollutants into water bodies. In inorganic pollutants such as suspended solids, cyanides, thiocyanides, sulfide, copper, mercury, cadmium, heavy metal, etc. Whereas organic pollutant, it can spill oil, phenol and naphthalenes to the water body. And from chemical plants, there are various acid and alkalis, chlorides, sulfates, nitrates of metals, phosphorus, fluorine, silica and suspended particles discharged into water bodies. And it also spills certain organic pollutants such as aromatic compounds into water bodies. And the medical field, that is pharmaceutical industry, it doesn't spill any inorganic pollutants into water, but it can spill organic pollutants such as protein, carbohydrate, organic solvent, intermediate product, drug and antibiotic to the water bodies. Not only that, soap and detergent industry can also add up inorganic and organic pollutants. Inorganic pollutants such as tertiary ammonium compound into water bodies, as well as in organic category it can discharge fats and fatty acid, glycerol, phosphates, polysulfonated hydrocarbons, etc. into the water bodies. And from food processing industry, since food is an organic compound, it doesn't spill any inorganic pollutant into water bodies, but it can cause organic pollutants, or it can spill organic pollutants into water bodies such as highly protrusible, that is easily rot organic matter and pathogen into the water bodies. Not only that, the paper and pulp industry, which can spill both organic as well as inorganic component into the water bodies. In inorganic form, it discharges sulfide and bleaching liquors, and in organic form it spills certain cellulose fibers, bark, wood, sugars, organic acid, etc. So, these are the major pollutants or in the water. Then what is the harmful effect? All of these organic, inorganic pollutants, heavy metals, all these spillage in water bodies can cause harmful effect in human as well as biotic environment. So, what are they? There are certain heavy metal discharge that such as lead, tin, mercury, arsenic, nickel, cadmium, and radioactive elements such as uranium, thorium, cesium, etc. into water bodies. And lead from industrial waste can lead to serious nervous disorders, kidney failure, blood poisoning, etc. And in tin, from industrial dust, it can cause, it can affect CNS, that is central nervous system, vision, etc. And mercury, again from industrial discharge, it affects central nervous system and peripheral nervous system, kidney failure, numbness of lips, muscles and limbs, and blurred vision, etc. Arsenic, again from industrial discharge, it can cause respiratory and skin cancer, severe nervous disorder, etc. Nickel from industry as well as from aerosol, it can cause pulmonary disorders and dermatitis, that is skin cancer. And cadmium, again from industrial discharge, it can cause kidney disorders, pulmonary and skeletal problem. And the radioactive waste, uranium, thorium and cesium, it has of very dangerous to human system. It can cause leukoderma and skin cancer. Not only that, these chemicals can have direct effect in our human system, but not only that, there are certain diseases which are caused by water pollution, and I can categorize it as bacterial diseases, viral diseases, and helminth diseases and protozoan diseases. The first one is bacterial diseases, which is a very common diseases that are affecting our daily life: typhoid, cholera, bacterial diarrhea, leptospirosis, and leptospirosis. And the first one is typhoid. You have to know the causative organism of typhoid, that is Salmonella typhi, which is the major source of Salmonella typhi is contaminated food, water, milk, unwashed raw vegetables and flies. And I am not going deep into symptoms. You can look at because continuous fever, hemorrhage, headache, shivering, body ache, etc. And cholera, which is causative organism is Vibrio cholerae, which is mode of spread is mainly by contaminated food from bacteria and from tools of cholera patient. And again the symptoms are diarrhea, vomiting, typically waterless and colorless stools and mucus floating in them. And then there are another criteria, that is bacterial diarrhea, which is caused by Shigella species, and mode of spread is mainly through again by contaminated food, water, and by direct personal contact from patients suffering from bacterial diarrhea. Again disarrhea with the blood and dysentery, mucus in stools. And the last bacterial disease is leptospirosis, that is caused by Leptospira. And you all know that it is a rat fever, which are very prevalent in our season after flood conditions in Kerala. And primer host is rodents, which is caused by carrying and this infection is spread by swimming in water contaminated with the rodent urine. Again symptoms are fever, pain in leg, nausea, vomiting, congestion of blood vessels around cornea of eyes. Then comes the viral disease. It is only one type viral disease, that is infective hepatitis, which is caused by waterborne diseases, that is caused by hepatitis virus. Again from food and water contaminated with virus in stools, loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, eye and skin appear yellow, just like jaundice. And then in protozoan diseases there are amoebic dysentery and diarrhea. Amoebic dysentery, which is caused by Endamoeba histolica. The mode of spread is injection of cyst in food and water. Again abdominal discomfort and diarrhea, blood in stool, fever, chill, gripping pain in abdomen, etc. And then comes the common diarrhea, which is caused by Giardia intestinalis, which again spread by food or water contaminated with feces having cyst. Again symptoms are intestinal disorders leading to pain, abdominal discomfort, loss of appetite, headache and loose bowels. And the last category is a certain helminth can also cause water contaminated diseases. An example is bilharzia. It is caused by Schistosoma species, and mainly the causative organism is certain larva, and symptoms are allergic like itch, rash, itches. When infection heavy, the larva lay egg which can block the arteries of lungs, cardiopulmonary water causing schistosomiasis and may lead to congestive heart failure. And there are one more helm in the disease, that is Guinea worm Dranunculus medinensis, which is mainly through unfiltered water, which we usually drink from tap or well water, blisters near the ankle causing allergy and other itches. These are the direct water diseases which we have get from contaminated food, water, or direct contact with patients, etc. But there are certain diseases which cannot directly transmitted from water but through vector-borne diseases. And the major example is mosquito causing disorders, that is malaria, filaria and dengue. You have to know the causative organism. Malaria, there is a Plasmodium species, and you know the vector, it is a female mosquito Anopheles, and host is man. Man is an intermediate host. Again, symptoms are heavy fever, shivering, chills, and fever may grow, maybe temperature rises as high as 106 degree Fahrenheit. And then filaria, which is elephantiasis, which is caused by Wuchereria filariensis, and the vector is Culex fatigans, and host is again man. Symptom is enlargement of limbs and scrotum. And the dengue, which is the most common diseases nowadays, and it is caused by barbovirus, and the vector is Aedes aegypti mosquitoes, and man is the host. Again, sudden or set of moderately high fever, joint pain, in-chest pain behind ears, second rise in temperature after remission, brief remission, reduction in white blood cells, etc. So when talk about water pollution and industrial pollution, we have to look deep into two major pollutions that are affecting our environment, ecosystem to a great extent, that is greenhouse effect and global warming. This greenhouse effect and global warming, because greenhouse is just a protective enclosure that is usually made of glass, in which temperature inside is higher, usually higher than outside. So greenhouse gases are majorly carbon dioxide, chlorofluorocarbons, nitrogen oxides and methane. In minor quantities, these greenhouse gases are very good and they protect our environment from high radiations. And the major sources of carbon dioxide is by burning of fossil fuels, and chlorofluorocarbon is our refrigerator, AC, propellant, commercial, industrial and commercial uses of solvents, etc. And nitrogen oxide by burning of fossil fuels, fertilizers, burning of wood and crop residue, and methane by growing paddy, excreta of cattle and other livestock, termites, etc. What is the effect of increase in these greenhouse gases will leads to global warming, that is an overall increase in earth atmospheric temperature, and this global warming will indirectly leads to ozone depletion and ozone hole. So what is an ozone? It is an ozone layer which is present in an earth atmosphere. It is a protective umbrella that prevents the entry of sun's harmful ultraviolet rays that is reaching into the earth's surface. But the industrial use of chemicals such as chlorofluorocarbon in refrigeration, air conditioning, cleaning solvents, fire extinguishers and aerosols can cause an overall increase in temperature, and which can affect ozone layer indirectly, and this ozone hole is formed as a result of certain reaction, because the CFCs react with ozone hole and convert the ozone is generally O3 and our oxygen is O2. So it convert when reaching the ozone, it convert the O3 layer into O2 molecules, and this O2 molecule cannot prevent UV radiations from direct entry into their atmosphere. Okay. So the important ozone depleting chemicals, as I already mentioned, CFCs, which is a major concern due to over usage in refrigeration, aerosol form, food freezing, warming diseases, cosmetics, heat detectors, solvent, refrigerators, firefighting, etc. and halon, which is used in firefighting, and HCFC22, which is used in refrigeration, aerosol, foam and firefighting, methyl chloroform, which is used in solvent, carbon tetrachloride, which is again used as a solvent. All these chemicals, when reaching the earth atmosphere, can react with ozone and convert ozone into oxygen, O2, which can lead to ozone hole development. Not only that, the acid rain is also a major concern apart from this ozone hole, greenhouse and global warming. So acid rain, which I mentioned in earlier slides, the major cause of acid rain is sulfur dioxide and oxides of nitrogen, which are emitted into atmosphere, undergo certain chemical transformation and absorbed by water droplets which are present in the clouds. And this causes a formation of sulfuric acid and nitric acid in rain clouds, and these droplets when fall into the earth as rain, snow or mist and increases the acidity of our soil, and this result in acid rain. This acid rain can be defined as any type of precipitation with a pH which is usually acidic, that is usually low. A pH of less than 5 is usually defined as acid rain. This acid rain is major concern because it is affecting some of our historic monuments such as Taj Mahal to a great extent. So, what are the sources? I already mentioned sulfur dioxide and oxides of nitrogen, which is majorly emitted by burning of fossil fuels, and not only that, from motor vehicles, residential and commercial furnaces, industrial and electrical utility boilers, engines and other equipments. So, what is its effect? Already mentioned, it's acidification of lakes, streams and contributes to the damage of trees. In addition, acid rain accelerate the decay of building materials, monuments, nations' cultural heritage such as Taj Mahal. Prior to falling to earth, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide gases and their particular matters, sulfate and nitrate, contribute to visibility degradation and can harm public health. So, with this I am stopping today's presentation. So, the rest of the topic, that is radiation and its pollutant, as well radiation, pollution and its effect, we will discuss on next class. Thank you.